Secretary, please call the roll.
The honorable members of the Commission on Appointments, Albano III, Almario, Aquino IV, Cayetano, Cortona, Drilon, Ejercito, Florendo Jr., Gatchalian, Honasan II, Lacson, Legarda, Loyola, Ocampo, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Recto, Salimbangon, Ramirez Sato, Soto III, Tolentino, Treñas, Zamora, Subiri. The chairman is present.
With 24 members present, which includes the chair declares the presence of a quorum.
Mr. Senate President,
Majority Leader,
I move that we dispense with the reading of the journal of the March 15, 2017 plenary session and consider the same as approved.
is there any objection? There being none, the reading of the journal of the March 15, 2017 plenary session is dispensed with and the same is hereby approved.
Mr. President, may I ask that Senator Pangilinan take his oath of office as Minority Floor Leader of this Commission?
Senator Pangilinan.
I so move.
Please raise your right hand.
Ako si Francis Kiko Pangilinan ng Quezon City
Na inihalal sa katungkulan bilang Minority Leader
na inaalal sa katungkulan bilang Minority Leader
ng Commission on
ng
Appointments
Commission on
ay
Appointments
taimtim na nanunumpa na tutuparin ko
ay taimtim na nanunumpa na tutuparin ko
ng buong husay at katapatan
ng buong husay at
sa
katapatan
abot ng aking kakayahan
sa abot ng aking kakayahan,
ang mga tungkulin ng aking kasalukuyang katungkulan
ang mga tungkulin ng aking kasalukuyang katungkulan
at ng mga iba pang pagkaraan nito ay gagampanan ko
at mga iba pang pagkaraan ito ay gagampanan ko
sa ilalim ng Republika ng Pilipinas
sa ilalim ng Republika ng
na
Pilipinas,
aking itataguyod at ipagtatanggol ang konstitusyon ng Pilipinas
sa aking itataguyod at ipagtatanggol ang Konstitusyon ng Pilipinas,
na tunay na mananalig at tatalima ko rito
na tunay na mananalig at tatalima ako rito,
na susundin ko ang mga batas, mga putusan legal
nasusundin ko ang mga batas, mga kautosan legal
at mga dekretong pinaiiral
at mga dekretong pinaiiral
ng mga sadyang itinakdang may kapangyarihan ng Republika ng Pilipinas
ng mga sadyang itinakdang may kapangyarihan ng Republika ng
at
Pilipinas.
kusa kong babalikatin ang pananagutan nito
Kusa kong babalikatin ng pananagutan ito
nang walang anumang pasubali o hangarin.
nang walang anumang pasubali o hangarin.
Kaya naman,
Siya nawa.
congratulations sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Majority Leader,
Mr. Senate President, may we now proceed to consider the recommendation of your Committee on Environment and Natural Resources on the ad interim appointment of Ms. Regina Paz Lopez as Secretary of the Department of of Environment and Natural Resources. I so move.
is there any objection? There being none, the consideration of the recommendation of the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources is in order.
Mr. Senate President, I move that your Chairman, Senator Manny Pacquiao, Chairman of the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources, be recognized.
Is there any objection? There being none, Senator Pacquiao is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, distinguished members of the Commission on Appointments, ladies and gentlemen. The deliberation of the ad interim appointment of Ms. Gina Lopez as Secretary of DENR was perhaps the longest, dramatic, and most watched by all Filipinos from all walks of life, both rich and poor. To my mind, this is not only Gina's fight for the environment, but a fight between Filipinos versus Filipinos, who both need the environment. One group to use it, and the other to preserve it. Gina's uphill climb to reach her goal as DENR Secretary was a tall call decisions that perhaps the wisdom of Solomon must be sought. As chairman of this committee, I have to hear the both sides, one of Gina's and the other of her oppositors. At kayo po ang saksi ng lubhang napakahirap ng katayuan nating lahat sa pagdesisyon ng isyu ng appointment ni Madam Gina Lopez. Lahat ng nailatag at lahat ay nasagot. Pinagbigyan natin ang kanya-kanyang oras ang lahat ng stakeholders upang marinig ang kanilang panig. To Gina, I truly admire your passion and love for the environment. Your dreams to make the brown fields turn into green. The water to be clean in clean fresh air to surround our land. I remember I was your partner preserving the environment way back. Wala pa tayo sa politika, wala pa tayo sa gobyerno. At damag ko ang iyong malasakit sa kalikasan. Then President Duterte appointed you as DENR Secretary, and with your pronouncement na paulit-ulit na ikaw ay 0% corruption tolerance, I told myself you would really make a difference. But the Commission has voted today and has met the required 13 votes. With sadness in my heart, this committee, through this plenary, is terminating its deliberation on Gina Lopez appointment, not in the way I personally wanted to, but by the decision of the majority, which I am sorry, but we must all respect. To you, Gina Lopez, my supposed DENR Secretary, I salute you. Take this turmoil in your life today as a challenge to strive for more. The DENR post, a great caliber as you are, is not the end of your career but only the beginning. As one Chinese proverb said, one step backward, two steps forward. I believe in my heart that no matter how several big people may be against Gina, she will always stand on what she believes in morally and environmentally right and righteous. She remains unperturbed. She remains Gina Lopez Paz Lopez, the woman with a gold mine of heart. Hindi ito ang katapusan. Ito ay simula pa lamang ng bagong kabanata ng laban ng isang matapang, tapat, at may prinsipyong babae. At yan ay si Gina Lopez. Mr. President, I move that the body adopts this report. I so move, Mr. President.
What is the report? What's the report?
Can we now clarify
What's the report?
the recommendation of the committee so that the chair can act on the proper motion?
Mr. President, the committee report is to reject the
Okay.
appointment.
As understood now by the chair, the motion from the committee chairman of our Committee on Environment and Natural Resources is to disapprove the ad interim appointment of Ms. Regina Paz Lopez as Secretary, Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Majority Leader, do you
Yes.
agree? Do you agree?
Yes, I
Okay,
agree.
so that is the motion. Any objection?
Now,
Senator Soto
wishes to be
Mr. Chairman, I voted for the confirmation of Gina Lopez, Secretary of Environment and Natural Resources. Therefore, I wish to manifest that I am not supporting the committee report.
But to guide the chair, Senator, is that an objection?
no,
For the record?
no, no.
Mr. President, it's a manifestation because I cannot object to
Thank you.
an agreement already.
Thank you. Just for the guidance of the chair, so that I will know how to proceed. Anybody else, Senator Pangilinan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, we would like to likewise make a manifestation. I represent the Liberal Party contingent in the Senate, and with the consent of Senators Recto, Brilon, Aquino, and of course this representation, we would like to place on record that we likewise voted for the confirmation of Secretary Gina Lopez, because we believe in her qualification and her abilities to lead the department. For the record, Mr. President.
Yes, for the record manifestation. Anybody else?
Senator Ligarda.
Senator Ligarda is recognized.
I wish I could stand here to sponsor the nomination and the confirmation of who could have been one of the greatest secretaries of the environment. It breaks my heart to read my manifestation, but I will. Mr. President, it is unfortunate that we let pass a great opportunity for my much beloved Department of Environment and Natural Resources to be led by someone who has the passion, integrity, and political will to implement our environmental laws. In my 3 terms in this chamber, I've authored at least 8 of them, and I had hoped to have a partner in implementing the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, the Ecological Solid Waste Management Law, among others. We live in extraordinary times. We need an extraordinary kind of leadership. Our natural environment has been compromised in the name of unsustainable development. Our biological diversity has been significantly reduced, and the general health of our environment is conceded to the greed of a few. Even more unfortunate is the fact that our ecosystems have been altered more rapidly for the supposed development programs, but the poor have remained poor. We do not realize that the things we want to gain and develop through the use of ecosystem services are the very same things we lose due to the exploitation and the unsustainable use of our natural resources. When Gina Lopez was appointed Secretary of Environment and Natural Resources, I applauded, I called her up actually, to accept the invitation of the President. She thought about it for 24 hours, and I asked my friends in people's organizations and the CSOs to help convince her. Finally, she acceded. Her mantra was, and I quote, "Without ecological integrity and social justice, we cannot have genuine, inclusive economic growth." I agreed. I continue to agree, and I will ever continue to agree. The DNR has partnered with 6 other agencies, the ELG, the OTR, DOJ, AFP, PNP, the Coast Guard, and many others to go after large-scale environmental offenders. Under her leadership, the DNR has undertaken an assessment of mining firms, the closure of illegal quarrying operations in Mount Banahaw, the dismantling of illegal structures in Laguna Lake, which is anti-poor, the intensified operations in illegal logging hotspots in the country, while promoting sustainable economic alternatives such as ecotourism and renewable energy investments. Mr. President, in such a short time, in less than a year of service in government, Gina Lopez has already done a lot as DNR Secretary. She could have done so much if we had given her the chance. I wish, I had hoped, I prayed that my support and my friendship would have been enough. But we have rules to follow. I hope that the next DNR chief, whoever he or she may be, would also have the same passion, political will, and integrity, but would not suffer the same fate in the Commission on Appointments. With that, Mr. Chairman, I register my strong dissent to the Commission's rejection of the confirmation of the ad interim appointment of Secretary Regina Paz Lau Lopez. That's my manifestation.
So thank you for clarifying and that was only a manifestation. So anybody else? Senator Ejercito is recognized.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. I'd like to take this opportunity to explain my vote in favor of the confirmation of Ms. Gina Lopez as Environment Secretary. I believe that Gina Lopez is highly qualified for the position of DENR Secretary because of her commitment to serve the country and her unwavering advocacy to save our environment. The previous administration saw her efforts and initiatives for the rehabilitation of Pasig River, eventually appointing her as chairperson of the Pasig River Rehabilitation Commission. She also launched the Save Palawan movement and stood up to the challenge of gathering 10 million signatures to voice out that key biodiversity areas must be protected and not be ravaged by mining. Recently, she put an end to the long-time struggle of our environment from destructive mining operations. Mr. Chair, Mr. President, Gina Lopez should be recognized because it took for a lady secretary to have the guts of going against the brazen violations of big-time miners. This feat is admirable, and I share her conviction that no amount of income contribution to the country's GDP can compensate the environmental destructions and negative impacts of the mining operations. Mr. President, we have to look beyond certain qualifications before individuals can serve the country and be a catalyst for change. Secretary Lopez has the passion to take care of the environment and address the indigenous people's displacement in their ancestral lands. It is just regrettable that we are saying no to her leadership in the DNR. Nevertheless, Mr. President, I will respect the decision of the body. Thank you.
Thank you for that manifestation, Senator Ercito. The pending motion, I will restate once again, is for the plenary to disapprove the ad interim appointment of Secretary Lopez as Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Any objection? There being none, the motion is approved, and the ad interim appointment of Ms. Regina Paz Lao Lopez as Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources is disapproved.
Mr. Senate President, there being no matters to discuss, I move that we adjourn.
Any objection? There being none, session is hereby adjourned.